Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today in front of me I've got a hefty little bundle of custom Lego built minifig scale creatures from the designer BrickSheepa. This is all of the Tatooine creatures, and I mean it's not all the Tatooine creatures, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know if all of these creatures are even, in fact, native to the planet of Tatooine. Like, if you wanted to jump into the lore, maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. But I've got 6 different models here. There are 2 different kinds of Rancors. You got the classic brown and the gray one with the saddle, like you see in Book of Boba Fett. Then there is a fig scale Dewback. There's actually a lot of posability with these models, which is certainly an advantage of having them in brick-built form. Something we've been wanting to put together for a really long time in the studio. There is a brick-built Bantha. He's got some really fun details, and along with the Tusken Raiders, there's also a little Massiff here. And lastly here, I've got this creature here in my hand. It's the only one where I had to look up its name before recording this. This is a Ronto, and you might remember it from that great special edition scene that aged super well from 1997. These are some really amazing computer graphics taking up the entire shot here. And I mock it now, but when that VHS box set came out in Costco, the black and gold special edition movies, I poured over all the scenes, and I actually really liked the one with the Ronto in there. And I don't think the computer graphics looked as bad on like a VHS tape in general with all that extra graininess, but who knows? I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly. Long story short, we got this Ronto here, and we're going to be jumping into all of the details for all of these models. I'll let you know which ones handle the best and what types of poses you can put them in. But first, if you want to build any of these creatures, you can get the instructions at BrickVault.toys. With an instructions purchase comes a PDF guide to the build and a digital parts list for ordering all the pieces you'll need online. All of our models are hand tested for durability. The instructions are also troubleshot so the models can be easily built and followed along. All the parts for the creations are chosen also for availability, so you can find them on the brick buying market. So if you get instructions from us, you will be able to put these models together in real life. It's also an excellent way to help support our channel and the really talented designers we work with, like Sean, aka BrickSheepa, who has another great looking creature bundle for Naboo as well. Okay, we're going straight into the Rancors. We've got posability with the ankles, hips, shoulders, elbows, fingers, mouth, and this one kind of surprised me, but the neck can also cock to the side a little too. The arms are pretty darn long and not really heavy, but heavy enough that when you move them forward or to the side, you're also going to want to change the position of the hips so they don't throw the balance off. It's kind of similar to how you mess around with a fig that is not studded into the ground. There are also some easy breaking points here for sure, but just as easy as these limbs may be to break off, you can also pop them right back on. That's the general rule for approaching creature builds for us here in the studio. The Rancors themselves are super posable in general, but don't let that mistake you for them being play features when moving them around. The models are not strong like the original Lego creature mold that was made. Instead, you get this nice brick-built aesthetic for the creatures, more options for posing, and in terms of when this video was recorded, it's also a little bit cheaper to build these creatures out in bricks as opposed to buying an original mold of a Rancor. Now, righto, let's jump straight into the Dewback. It got a couple of different molds throughout the years in Lego Star Wars set releases, and it also got a brick-built version of it made, I think just for like the Microfighter series, but it's fairly good in size in terms of having it being a little bit appropriate for a diorama. This here is full fig scale, so it changes up the general look in terms of accuracy and proportion. You can move all the limbs around a bit here and there. Generally, I just like to put 1 foot forward for a subtle walking position. The tail has a little articulation, the mouth opens, and the head, like the Rancor, can also cock to the side a little bit. The designer really has a great way of getting some lifelike looking shapes into his creature models, and the Dewback is a really great example of that. Now let's jump straight into the Bantha. This is one of these creature builds for Star Wars that has been, I think, fairly neglected over the years in terms of Lego releases. That only really got one Microfighter set release, and at the same time it was teased a bunch in terms of having original molds when you checked out the creature models from all the different Lego Star Wars games. So it's really fun to finally have a fig scale version of it built here. This model here, I think, really captures the essence of a Bantha. That rock finger brick right in the middle of the face makes a good impression for a snout, and then that feeds right into the broad mouth made of those two different layered dishes, then more rock fingers for a beard at the bottom, and even the single stud on the side of the wedge plate here feels suggestive for an eye. Actually, you can just add a printed eye tile for fun, more of a cartoony fun look if you like. It's really just up to you. But in general, great shaping for big ridged horns that curve around the sides. There is a slightly posable tail. Now, while we are here with the Tusken Raider animals, these guys are the work beasts of the sand people out in the desert, there's also this Massiff, which is basically like a big dog. This here has a fairly simple construction. You can cock the head to the side if you like, but it's mostly fun to just make it in a walking pose, or it can stand on its hind legs, or now what a look for the Ronto. I think one of the big features that really makes this creature pop in general is this nice big fluid arcing shape that you have on the back of the head and the back of the neck here. It just makes everything feel a bit more smooth and sleek, and it really drives home a more organic look for the creature in general. Now the neck can turn a little, so it's got these big ear flaps on the sides too, those turn, and there is just a little bit of posability with the legs, and I say a little bit just because they're kind of delicate. I don't mess with the legs too much. The back legs in particular are a little bit more delicate than anything else here, but I did get it into this classic pose that I feel like is necessary for this particular creature. And now the trick here is just not to breathe around it when it's in this position. Just think stable thoughts, don't bump the table. If you wanted to pose this long term in a hind leg stance, I would definitely recommend figuring out a brick built solution to just making this a bit stronger, but it is cool that it can stand like this on its own. All right, so there are the creature builds for Tatooine. Let me know what other types of models you'd like to see built here in the studio in the future. If you enjoy our content, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, or share, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.